Welcome to Chicago Sports Tonight, Thursday night edition. Lou Canellis with you. We're just 2 days away from the Bears and Packers from Soldier Field in the NFC wildcard round. We will catch up with Manti Te'o from Good Morning Football Overtime on the NFL Network in a bit, but let's get right up to Halas Hall today, where our Cassie Carlson is joining us. Hey, Cassie, how are you?
Good, Lou. We have, 2 more sleeps before the big game Saturday night, so it's an exciting time in Chicago.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was driving around the city today, and there was a big Bears ice sculpture in front of the CDW building in the West Loop, and fans are dressed in Bears gear everywhere. If you've got a ticket to Saturday's contest, you're lucky, because the secondary market's going absolutely ballistic right now, with tickets being the most expensive ever for an NFL wildcard game. After spending the week at Halas Hall, do the coaches and players realize just how big this game is?
I mean, I think if you're someone like Cole Kmet, who grew up in this city, and he basically talked about it earlier in the week, saying, you know, a lot of times the Bears hang their hat on the 85 Bears, and that is so far removed from where we're at right now. He said Chicago sports in general is all based and predicated on history. He's like, the time is now for us to rewrite that history, and someone who grew up cheering for the Bears as a kid, now playing in a wild card game against the Packers, is someone who could be part of that. And I think a lot of the players understand what's ahead of them. Someone like Kevin Byard knows, you know, being here for 2 years now, that this city just loves the Bears, and players, you know, they get recognized a little bit more probably when they're out to dinner, if they do get out a little bit more. And I think Ben Johnson has noticed it too. You know, he said this week he doesn't get downtown much, but when he is down there for the night before games, he can definitely feel the buzz of Bears fans. And so I think they appreciate the way the fans adopt this team as their own, especially when they're good in this city. And although it's been few and far between over the last handful of years, as you mentioned, you can just feel the buzz about this team, and the hope is that they can go in there Saturday night with home field advantage. They are urging fans to be quiet when the offense is on the field, and hopefully take care of business and host another playoff game next weekend.
Yeah, I hope that the fans make a ton of noise when it's Green Bay on the offensive, because I'll tell you what, you look at the Packers' numbers on the road, far different than when they're at home. They don't play as well, and that Bears defense has been terrific in front of the home field fans at Soldier Field this season. You talked about Ben Johnson. You know, comes into the city every so often, doesn't live down in the city, lives out in the northwest suburbs by Halas Hall. But listening to Matt LaFleur, who's been part of the rivalry longer than Ben Johnson, who obviously is in his first season with the Bears, listening to Matt LaFleur yesterday, it really does sound like the coaches appear to be emotionally invested in this game, right?
Well, I think everyone's emotionally invested in this game. And Ben Johnson, who we were surprised came out and said he wanted revenge last week against the Lions, is also the one who said he did want to beat Matt LaFleur twice a year, or did like beating Matt LaFleur twice a year when he was hired here by the Bears. And he's done it once. He could actually do it twice, despite them, you know, not doing it in the regular season. And he's someone who came out beginning of the week and really set the expectation, saying we are mentally prepared to play for 5 more weeks. And it seemed like he had that message to the entire locker room as soon as that Lions game ended, and it resonated with the guys in there. Take a listen.
Because this is our 3rd time through it, I think we'll be able to handle the emotions a lot better. You know, there were, last time we played them, we ended up having a number of 15-yard fouls that hurt us, you know, hurt the team. And I think we'll learn from that, and I think we'll be better off for it. But it's natural to be excited about a game of this magnitude, and yet I told him yesterday it won't take long once that ball's kicked off for us all to understand it's another football game. And that's where, when I think the lights are the brightest and you got a little bit more pressure and high stakes like this, you focus on your fundamentals, you focus on your details and the little things.
You got to just do your job and focus on your job. And we know this. Like, anytime you're playing a really good football team, whether it's in the playoffs or in the regular season, every play is so critical. So you can't have lapses, whether it's intensity, whether it's mental lapses. They just can't happen, because every play is so valuable, so critical. There's no wasted plays. And then I think ultimately what it comes down to is your ability to execute. And I would say this, that in the biggest of games, your best players have to play their best.
So you're hearing there from both of the head coaches talking about executing the fundamentals, and you talk to the players inside the locker room and the ones who have been in the playoffs before. Someone like Joe Thuney, a 4-time Super Bowl champion, basically said it's just the lights get a little bit brighter, the sidelines are more packed with media, so when you take the field during pregame warmups, it's kind of alarming at first, and then once the ball gets kicked off, you start to settle into just playing football a little bit more.
Today was the final chance for the media to talk to the coaches and players. Do me a favor, run down the injury report.
Well, I think the biggest news is going to be Rome Odunze making his return after missing 5 games with a foot injury. And although he might be on a snap count, not up to full speed, you're getting one of your number 1 targets back for Caleb Williams in this passing game. Although I think you should have a heavy emphasis on running the ball, especially given the conditions that we're expecting for Saturday night. Then the other thing is Kyler Gordon, a full participant in practice here today for the first time. He is questionable heading into the game, which means he could be activated off IR tomorrow heading into Saturday. And that would be a huge boost because C.J. Gardner-Johnson is out for this game, and they need that nickel corner. Kyler Gordon, one of the guys they paid this offseason, being that he is one of the top playmakers on this defense. And then another notable thing is Ozzie Trapillo being good to go. It's a good reminder that he did not play last week. So getting your starting left tackle back would be huge in this game.
Tell me about Tyrique Stevenson. Didn't play in the last game against Jared Goff and the Lions. Goff ripped apart that Bears secondary for 330 passing yards. Do you think he gets any snaps in this game?
Well, he talked today in the locker room and said he is preparing as if he is going to get snaps. He actually said he was told he would play against the Lions and then ended up never seeing the field on defense. And so I think he's handling this professionally. He realizes that there's no other way he can do it, and he said if it means or gives this team a better chance to win, then he's all for it, while deep down I'm sure he feels a different way about it. But the way Dennis Allen had framed it earlier this week is essentially they were kind of surprised that Nahshon Wright came out and played the way he did this entire season and felt like he deserved the chance to be on the field. Then Jalen Johnson came back, and it just so happened where Tyrique Stevenson was kind of the odd man out, and he can still show up in practice and try to earn his way to get some playing time. But just seeing the numbers, which I think probably say the most, is the number of snaps have gone down pretty drastically, down to 0 over the last handful of weeks. And so I think Tyrique Stevenson is trying to approach this as best as he can, knowing the situation that he's in. I would say knowing that he had a lot to prove to this coaching staff that dates back to when they were hired in the start of training camp. And so he is trying to be the best teammate as possible. And he said he'll be ready if his number gets called.
Bears practice today and yesterday. I know Ben Johnson was talking about getting back to the fundamentals, wasn't he? Give me an idea of what he meant.
Well, I think he just means about the margin of error in the playoffs is so little, and you never know what play is going to be the winning play. And so I think for him, it's all about channeling that and focusing on the little things, because he believes that this is a good football team that they have here in Chicago. It's gotten them to this point. It won them the division. It earned them the 2 seed, even if it was a little indirectly. And they feel like they have what it takes to make a run. And I think more so than anything, as the Bears are sitting here right now, Ben Johnson came out and said that they are trying to make it the next 5 weeks. That takes them all the way to the Super Bowl. And so he wasted no time after the Lions game addressing that with his team and making sure that they know that there should be one focus over the next month. So take a listen to what he had to say and how it resonated with everyone.
I've been saying it all week. I'm rooted in the fundamentals, particularly on games like this. It's about blocking, it's about tackling, it's about catching the ball, it's about ball security. Things of that nature come out to the forefront. And so I'm more concerned with playing sound football, making sure that we're putting our guys in a good spot. I mean, we got a lot of talented players, and you just want them to play fast, play confident, and put them in good spots. And so that's what we're concerned about as a coaching staff. I've tried to be pretty steady Eddie just in terms of demeanor throughout the season, and that doesn't change here and now. That's my role, and I think the guys are going to show up, and I think they're excited for this opportunity, and I'm excited to see them play.
I want to talk to you about the offensive line. I think it's so important. I really think if you were to ask me what's the key to this football game, I think those guys up front making room for the running game at the start, good start, so the Bears can jump ahead and win the time of possession, get the football, and get Green Bay on its heels, instead of the Bears playing from behind, deviating from a game plan that may involve plenty of runs, but if you're playing from behind, now you need to throw the football in who knows what kind of elements on Saturday because of the weather forecast. I think key to the game is that offensive line and running the football from the start. What do you think?
I would have to agree, and I think we didn't see the best offensive line performance, which also reflected in the run game last week, and I think it's about getting back to the basics. And something that Cole Kmet talked about this week was the tight ends, the offensive line, and the running backs all being on the same page to understand assignments, blocking, lanes, and that's something they've done a really good job at. And DeAndre Swift mentioned it yesterday, saying ever since the bye week, which is when those running game numbers really took off, they've had a good camaraderie between those three position groups, and everyone's been on the same page.
All right, I want to end our conversation on a little bit of a lighter note. One of the great pieces of sound that I heard this week was from tight end Colston Loveland inside the Bears locker room. He shared the message that Ben Johnson delivered to his team earlier in the week. Tell me about it.
I mean, I think it's better if we just let Colston Loveland talk about it, because I asked the question and I was kind of like, I thought it was going to be, he just came into the team meeting saying, it's a new season. We got the Packers, enough said. But turns out he had a more stern message for this team.
He's like, it's another season, so you guys better have more energy, better energy than we had last season. And like he said, if you're not after the game, he said, if you're not prepared to play the next 5 weeks, if you're thinking about anything else, thinking about booking a flight, vacations or anything, don't come in. So he made it very clear about what's at stake and what the team is looking for.
The intent behind that is just to let the young players who haven't been here before, it's really just to understand that we're all in with everything we're doing, the here and the now. And like I've already mentioned, it's just you don't take it for granted when you're a coach or a player and you've been around for a while and you haven't made the playoffs a number of times to make it, and you just want to make sure that everyone is focused on winning the next game. And that's really the whole focus behind it is that intent.
And as Ben Johnson said earlier this week, they will go all out for this game. He was asked about kind of how his wife and kids feel about this playoff run that they're hopeful that they're going to make. And he's like, he didn't really have an answer. I think he's like, I really haven't seen my wife and kids much this week. I'm solely focused on the game planning. Maybe I'll see them today. So I think Ben Johnson's locked in, and in turn, he's getting his team locked in.
Well, make sure that you don't be booking any flights on vacation to Cabo or anything until February 12th or after, because Super Bowl is February 8th. Bears will win it. There'll be a parade probably on the 10th or 11th, and then you can leave on the 12th and take your vacation that you so well deserve, Cassie Carlson.
You too, Lou. Go off to Greece.
I'm going to. You don't have to ask me twice. Hey, Cassie, great work as always. I'll see you tomorrow in the house for Chicago Sports Tonight. By the way, we're going to deliver a special 1-hour Bears preview. Tina, the score is David Haw. They're going to join Cassie and myself. We're going to talk about the playoff coming up against the Packers. Coming up here on the show, we're going to talk with former linebacker, Notre Damer, Manti Te'o, part of the NFL Network's Good Morning Football Overtime crew. Manti comes your way right after this here on CST. Let's welcome in good friend of the show, Manti Te'o from Good Morning Football Overtime. Manti, it's been a few weeks since we last talked. Great to have you back on the show. I know you guys at Good Morning Football Overtime are looking at all 14 of the playoff teams this week, and I know two have a bye, 6 playoff games, but nothing can match Bears-Packers round 3, can it?
I don't think nothing can match it. I mean, Seth Rollins will be there in the stadium live and in full effect. So I know that we're all excited for him. We're excited for the Bears. We're excited for one of these matchups. I think we're starting off the playoff run strong with this game.
You played in the NFL playoffs as a rookie with the Chargers. Did a little research here. As a rookie with the Chargers back in the divisional round. And what Chicago forgets is, man, you were with the Bears. You were activated from the practice squad in the Bears' last playoff game, right?
Yes, we were. What a great ending to my career. Then to be a Chicago Bear, but then to also play my former team in the Saints, who I signed with between my time with the Chargers and with the Chicago Bears, and to end it in New Orleans, where I played so many games there as a New Orleans Saint. I couldn't think of a better way to end it. Now, we did come up short, as you know, Lou. I wish we were able to kind of progress in our playoff run, as I do know that most Chicago Bears fans wish we would have that year too. But what a time it was for me.
I remember. Share with us how playing in the playoffs, Manti, is different than the regular season.
Well, it's funny, you know, Lou. I always I try to draw it out this way. Believe it or not, the NFL season has so many different speeds. There's preseason, and then it picks up when the season starts, and then the month of December comes, and believe it or not, already fast game gets quicker. And then if you're blessed with the opportunity to go to the playoffs, the next 3 to 4 games, it continues to increase in speed. And I think there's this an attention to detail and this intensity about the playoffs that everybody understands it's win or go home. And so that brings out the best in players and in teams. And the game is at its best, I think, as the deeper you get off and get into the playoffs. And so I know we're hopeful that the Chicago Bears get deep into in this playoff run. And I think if they continue to do the things that they've been doing, I think it should be okay for them. All
right, I want to bring it to the Bears and Packers. Combined scores of the 2 games split between the Bears and Packers this year. Green Bay 44, the Bears 43. Do you think they're that evenly matched?
They are evenly matched, Lou, but they're also very different. The Bears do a tremendous job in running the football. And I think around this time of year, the Packers do a really good job in throwing the ball, especially Jordan Love. And it's been kind of a mixture of the two of the past couple of weeks for me when I watch the Chicago Bears play. It's a little bit more pass here or there. You know, obviously it's all determined on the game situation. But you're talking about 2 different teams, but they are definitely evenly matched. And I think that's what all fans want heading into this game this week.
Being a defensive guy, can't wait to get your perspective on this. Saw a great stat I want to share. 11 starting quarterbacks in the playoffs with postseason experience this year. They have combined for a total of 7 road playoff victories. The Steelers' Aaron Rodgers, Manti, owns 5 of those 7 wins, meaning that the other 10 quarterbacks with playoff experience, not named Aaron Rodgers, are 2-21 in road playoff games. As a defensive guy, does that surprise you? I mean, because really the defense gets turned up at home in the postseason, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And I think the pressure and all of the things that amount to what is required of a quarterback, especially a young quarterback or any young player in general, but especially when you're a quarterback of a team defensively, if I know that you lack experience in those bright lights, that there is a level of you are tense a little bit. And, you know, I think anybody in that situation would be. But I'm hopeful with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, especially. If there's anybody that has experience for the Bears, it's their head coach and Ben Johnson, who is able to spill some of that knowledge and some of that experience to his young quarterback and to the young guys on his team. Because I know we talk a lot about Caleb Williams, but Kyle Monunga has been phenomenal. And if he can help all of his young guys meet the expectation of this game, I think it'll be good for the Bears.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You know I love you. I appreciate your support all season long. You've been on with me, but I watch Good Morning Football Overtime on Fox Chicago Plus, Channel 50 here in town. I saw you pick the Packers yesterday. I'm calling you out, buddy. Tell me why.
I did. So context for the viewers, we were talking about where we would rank these teams
Yes.
in the entirety of the playoffs. It wasn't I was picking the Packers to win this game. I did have the Bears right after the Packers. What I did like about the Packers, and I'll say this again, Lou, is what Jordan Love has been able to do. I think has been special in since they call it Nissan Week or whatever that is. He has been phenomenal, and with him coming back, I think that's just a totally different Packers team. The defense without Micah Parsons, I think, has held their own. But again, to what we talked about earlier, this Packers-Bears game, it's so evenly matched that it's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. And when you got Jordan Love and you got Caleb Williams and his ability to scramble and ad-lib and make those special throws that we've been seeing, referring back to that second game where they had a game winner to DJ, I think it's going to be one of those showdowns that I think at the end of the day, we're all going to be happy that we witnessed it.
Buddy, you know this. I love you. Even when I saw the Packers above the Bears, but rated higher, I'm like, oh, come on, my man. So,
it was not too high. It was barely.
They were right next to each other. You are the best. You are doing great work on Good Morning Football and Good Morning Football Overtime. And I so appreciate everything you've done with us here on Fox this season. Thanks, buddy. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. You too, Lou.
Finally, before we leave you tonight, Bears captain Kevin Byard, the NFL's interception leader, was on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. Byard was teammates with Will Compton and Taylor Lewan in Tennessee, where they played for Mike Vrabel, now the head coach in New England. Vrabel back then, head coach for the Titans. So Byard was asked when he felt like Ben Johnson was turning this Bears team around.
I'm going to keep it real, bro, and I've said this before, though. That chant, the first time we did it, it was one of them joints, like, you're kind of looking around the locker room like, I don't know, boys. Like,
yes, I know.
It was kind of corny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just being real, like, because he's like, everybody huddle up, bring it up. You guys, like, I think it was at the preseason game. He was like, all right, repeat that to me. We're going to say this. I've been saying this for a long time. It was like, okay, like, what are we about to say? He's like, good, better, best. And we're like, good, better, best. And you kind of just looking around. It's like one of the everybody kind of looking around, like looking at each other, like, "Hey, you gonna say this out loud? Are we gonna scream this? Or you kind of say it under your breath a little bit?" But like you said, it's one of those joints. Like after we started to win, it's like now it's our rallying cry. Like guys are coming in super excited. Ben is a madman. So Ben is one of those guys that during the game he has no emotion. So like I said, the complete opposite from like Vraves. Vraves was always super animated. He's always coming to the sideline, going to the bench, the linebackers, the DBs, the O-line, coaching guys up. Ben's the complete opposite. You're probably not going to hear or see Ben on the sideline. He's going to be pacing back and forth. Knowing when Caleb drops a dime for a touchdown, no emotion. Defense gets the turnovers, no emotion. I'm talking about you don't hear nothing. And it's always, I don't care if we're winning by 30 or we're losing by 30. He has no emotion. Either you're going to see, look, he's going to look pissed off the whole entire game. Doesn't matter. So he doesn't really show any emotion till we get into the locker room. And obviously we just won the game. He lets out a huge scream. He might take his shirt off, all that other stuff. But it's just kind of funny. Just like he's so always locked in, so intensified on like, because like I said, he literally wants to score every drive. If he doesn't score on a drive, he's pissed off. You know what I mean? Like he just had this pissed off look about himself. But no, it's pretty funny. He's a great coach.
Wildcard weekend right here on Fox 32 Chicago. Game Day Live kicks things off at 12:30 before the Fox National broadcast takes over at 2. Then at 7 o'clock, 7:10 to be exact if you're headed to the game. Bears, Packers kickoff immediately following the game. We are here for a full post-game breakdown of the game. I'll be joined by Tina Nguyen, Pat the designer from ESPN Chicago, and Matt Spiegel from 670 The Score. We cannot wait. Our thanks for joining us here on the show. Manti Te'o from the NFL Network, Good Morning Football Overtime, and our very own Cassie Carlson as well from Hallis Hall. We are counting down the days until Wildcard Weekend kickoff on Saturday. Have a good night. See ya.